Welcome to the Industry Insider, brought to you by PromoCorner. Each week, promotional product professionals Meg Erber, Jeff Franklin, and Stephen McFadden, along with special guests, will discuss industry news, trends, and events with a focus on educating the promotional products industry. The Industry Insider, the nerdy news you need to know.
Welcome to yet another exciting Promo Horrors episode of the Industry Insider, your promotional products podcast where you can get all the nerdy news you need to know about. My name is Jeff Franklin, National Accounts Manager with Headwear USA, and I'm joined today by three other lovely folks. But of course, before we get to them, we got to tell you about our fine sponsors for today. Greater Pacific is your full-service creative agency. Their experience comes from the experience of thousands of custom projects completed for clients over the last 2 decades. With expertise in promotional products in the advertising specialties industry, custom OEM, product design, project management, CPSIA compliance, product testing, and full service logistics. They've done it all and become more effective with every opportunity. Greater Pacific creates the ultimate manufacturing experience for their clients, so go visit them at greaterpacific.com today. Tell them the Industry Insider sent you. And why don't we say hi to Meg Erber. Meg, how are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. It is Friday the 13th. This is our Friday the 13th episode of Promo Horror. So I'm very excited to have Debbie on. But before we get to Debbie, how are you doing today, Jeff?
I'm doing all right, thank you. Since you mentioned it's Friday the 13th, and I'm wearing a Steelers hat right now. Steelers just came off a big win against the Baltimore Ravens. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, if we're talking about wins, we should also be talking about how the Phillies are going to the World Series. Did anyone watch the game?
Steven, how are you?
Well, seeing that I'm a Broncos fan and it's Friday the 13th, that means on Thursday the 12th, we lost again. So,
but Taylor Swift was there again.
You know, that's a win.
Also, I'm pretty sure it's somebody's birthday today. Is it Jeff? Jeff, how old are you today?
Too old.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jeff.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I am 38 years young today.
Youngin.
Youngin. Yeah. Wasn't that long ago. I remember your 40th, Meg. So, you know.
A couple of years ago.
I'll let you know.
Are you turned 42 now? You're 42 or turning 42? You're older than that? Really?
I'm 43. We not like.
I feel like that was right so much so much closer than like just 3 years ago. That
moving on. Moving on.
Hi, Steven.
Yeah, I'm 35. I don't know if that makes you feel better.
Yeah, you know.
We don't have to give out ages, by the way, for our special guests. This is not a requirement of the podcast. I don't know how we went down the trail, but we did.
Well, it is the Promo Horrors episode, so that's exactly what we have to do.
Oh,
the
that's
special
true.
guests do have to give us their age. Just kidding. We're joined today by a special guest, Debbie Gaspar with Sky High Marketing. Very excited to have you on to discuss your promo horrors and to give us a nice fright for this Friday the 13th. Yeah. But before we launch into the topic, Debbie, it is customary for us to give our special guest a good 3 to 4 minutes to introduce yourself, maybe tell us how you got started in the promotional products industry and what you've been up to since. So take it away.
Wow, 3 to 4 minutes.
Yes.
That's a long time.
You get?
All right. So I've been in this industry for I'm just going to stick with 20. I know it fluctuates based on how old I decide I am at the time. So I'm going to stick with 20 today. Did most of my life on the distributor side, worked for Positive Promotions, great distributor, Vanguard, great distributor. I did a little stint on the supplier side for NC Custom for a few years. And now I'm back at it on the distributor side, which is my heart of this industry. So love working with customers again. So Sky High Marketing, we are based in Wisconsin, which is our headquarters. We have an office in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I was blessed to start up this New York City sort of tri-state area business. So love being back in touch with my old customers. It's amazing. I mean, I hate this story because I feel like it's so cliche. I go into it like everybody else. I thought I was going to be like a journalist. I went to college for journalism and English. I was writing the Great American Novel before I was 40. which by the way is still happening. And then
Because you're not 40, that's why. You're not
yeah,
40 yet.
well, yeah, age is off the table. I thought we said 29 forever.
Yeah.
And so then it was just I did a little journalism stint. I worked for a local sort of extra TV. I don't know if you know what that is. Type of agency here when I was in college. At the time, it was like we were stalking Monica Lewinsky. It was like that Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky scandal. I was like they were like, just stay outside her apartment and see if you can get an interview. So I was like stalking her for 36 hours.
Did you get an interview?
I did not. She snuck out the back door. It was like, what was all happening? And I was like, okay, this is not for me. I'm not going to be like stalking people outside their apartment. So the journalism thing went out the window. And my dad, like at the time, said, oh, I have this friend. He has a promotional products company. You're great at like marketing and writing. And why don't you just give it a whirl? And that's sort of how I landed there. And then I just loved it. I loved like they put me in charge of this committee that was like pick swag for like, I mean, it wasn't swag then, right? But like pick something for this event. And I was like, oh, wait, I can go shopping on the job. And I just loved it. And so I fell into it like everybody else. That was my first gig. I ended up staying there for, I think, 12, 13 years. So yeah, this wasn't certainly the career path I had intended, but I love every second of it. So yeah, so I don't know if that's 3 or 4 minutes, but
well,
that was perfect.
Stephen was going to be an FBI hostage negotiator, so there's that.
Right. So almost.
And Meg was going to be the next Ronda Rousey.
Right.
But instead, she had to settle for Meg the Terminator Erber.
He went into the WWE side and became the Terminator Erber.
Maybe one day. Maybe. So there was 2 things out of that I was going to touch base on. I got to see you last week, and the Michigan correlation didn't make sense until you said that you were growing the New York location. So this fabulous young lady I got the pleasure of hanging out with last week, just briefly, but it was just so good to actually see you in person. Yeah. And the second thing was
I went to give you a hug and you were like,
I know so many people came in for that hug and I was like, oh, it's time to go.
Yeah.
That whole Monica Lewinsky, I know this isn't the topic, but like very fascinating. I came into, that was in my, in our surroundings at that time. And then where I am now and looking back on it, back then I had a different perspective and mindset and what I thought of it. And then as an adult, I've actually listened to some podcasts and done a little bit more research, and it's a completely different story than we were fed by the media back then. So very interesting. I'll have to find that podcast and drop it in the comments. But yeah, it was very, 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 very good. And you probably know which one I'm talking about, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Meg,
anyway,
you're not insinuating that the media lied about something, are you?
I mean,
this is not the podcast.
I think they just made
Debbie
Monica
got out of journalism. If Debbie was still there, it would have been fine. But
totally, they just painted Monica a certain way, and it just was not the case. So anyway, moving on. We are here to talk about promo wars today. I'm so excited. I even have my Bella Canvas scary looking Halloween shirt.
It reminds me of Goosebumps. You remember those books?
They have a new series out right now. Goosebumps.
Oh yeah?
It's not the books, but like a TV show. Goosebumps. Yeah.
Y'all remember Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah. And yes, I am.
Yes. All right, Debbie. Well, like I said, it is a Promo Horrors episode. It's Friday the 13th. This episode's airing on October 18th, which is just a few days from now. But we're here to talk about some promo horrors. You got to give us a good fright, all right? Because it's Friday the 13th, so it's got to be extra, all right? Okay. Can you deliver the extra today?
I can do the best. I mean, I'm usually, anyone who knows me knows I'm a ready extra, so
all right.
It's not that complicated to give you the extra.
We've got the right guest for today, then.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to try not to drag this one out. Like, I don't want the story to go on for 10 minutes, but it's important you understand the details of the story. And I'm also going to leave out the names, like to protect the innocent. Well, guilty, as we know, but we'll say innocent. All right. So the company I was working at, and we're just going to say a distributor, put some air quotes around that. And I want to point out, because it's important to the story, I was 3 months into the job. So I had left my previous job. I was only 3 months into the job. And my company at the time was hired to be the main vendor. And for a pretty high profile, I'm just going to leave it at this, high profile, publicized event. So media, paparazzi, red carpet. It was taking place in New York City at a large venue, 10,000 attendees over a period of a few days with some very highbrow sponsors and sort of paparazzi, worthy attendees. So I'll leave it at that. High in the six figures project. We landed it. We were super excited. And I was, again, only 3 months in. So a lot of the project consisted of things I wasn't that familiar with, I'll be honest with, at the time. So of course there were promotional giveaways and there were swag bags and the whole thing for attendees. But most of the displays consisted of things that, again, I wasn't that familiar with. So red carpets and floor displays and displays in the place and huge, like side of the building signage and indoor and outdoor signage. And so I was panicking already. I don't think, like, it was my first big event at a brand new company and my stress level was super high and I needed it to go flawlessly. Like anyone who knows me knows I'm a perfectionist. And I don't think I slept for weeks leading into the event because it was just it was going to be televised. It was just a high profile event. And so they nominated me to be the liaison project manager, whatever you want to call it. I worked closely with, we had an inside design team. We had outside probably 6 multiple suppliers that were helping us with the event. And I just needed to make sure everything went flawlessly. And I will say, not that I'm tossing anyone into the fire. If they see this, they'll know who they are. But I had an inside team that was responsible for the back and forth with the client, proofing everything, making sure, they were the back and forth with the clients, the sponsors, the venue. And so my job was basically make sure everything is put together. I have my team organized inside. Fine. So I volunteered because I'm a control freak. So I volunteered to go there the day before as the foreman to make sure everything was displayed exactly as intended and, matched all the diagrams. I walked in there with a pad folio that had 1,000 pages in it. This is sign number 1, sign number 2, project number 1. I literally was trying to match up signage and whatever. So I got there at 6 o'clock in the morning. I spent the entire day checking everything. The show spanned 5 floors in this convention center. So I made sure the installation, everyone's hammering away. There's an installation, there's floor stuff going on, there's signs, whatever. So around 10 o'clock at night, I deemed everything was okay. They were finishing up. The event was starting at 7 a.m. the next morning. I'm I'm going to go home. I'm going to get a few hours of sleep. I did a final walkthrough of all the floors. I thought I did a final walkthrough of where everything was. So the next day I get there, 7 a.m. I think I got there earlier, probably 6:30. We laid out the red carpet. All the stars start showing up. Everything looks amazing. The display looks amazing. So I head up, we did the whole thing, paparazzi pictures. I'm so excited. I'm riding a high. My bosses are there. There's paparazzi there. We're all in. So I go to head up to the 3rd floor, which one of our sponsors, big named beverage sponsor, was hosting a VIP breakfast for these highbrow attendees. They were the sponsor of the event. And so I head up and when you're going up the escalator and you start to see what the floor is going to look like. And I was all excited. I was decked out. I had someone from I don't even know, Access Hollywood next to me. And we start to head up the escalator. And as you approach, as you all know, because you've been to trade shows, there's big signage, as soon as you're getting off the escalator to say welcome and you're here and whatever. So my eye catches the sign, as I'm on the 4th rung of the escalator. So it was a sign that said welcome, or should have said welcome to the 3rd floor, with a big sponsor call out of this big beverage company.
Should we put it up before you say it?
Are you ready?
Okay.
Are we ready? Drum roll, please, Meg. That's terrible.
Yeah. So welcome to the third floor. And what you don't see in this picture is behind it, there was a couple of other signs that said third floor sponsor with their logo. So this was just the first thing that I saw. So
it wasn't even just the easel. It was
not
other
It was
signage.
not. The easel was like they wanted us to put up signs directing everyone, but there was multiple full length, pull-up banner sort of signs with sponsor logos on them. Everyone welcoming to the third floor. So as if so I caught it, right? And I'm sure you've all been there. So you're panicking. So I ran to the right of the sign. I start calling everyone I know, like, oh my God. I think the worst part of the story was this became a staple of selfies. This sign, you could probably Google it, went viral. People started taking selfies in front of it, like, welcome to the third floor. There's like a Facebook page called like Signs Gone Wrong or something. It's on there. The welcome to the third floor. People started taking selfies in front of it with hashtags like you had one job and welcome to the third floor and sponsored by the third floor. Like it went viral and people were like doing this in front of it. And it was like, it was mortifying. It was mortifying. And luckily, let me just give the good news. Luckily, the printer, shout out to the printer. He knows who he is. He was amazing. He had it corrected in like a few hours. But by that time, people had taken a Sharpie to some of the signs and wrote like RD in front of it. But here's the good part. The good part is the client had a sense of humor. Thank God. Appreciated the additional publicity because when I'm not kidding that celebrities and other people took selfies in front of it, and we actually landed the account, the event.
You said it was a beverage sponsor?
It was a beverage sponsor.
In the thirsty floor.
Right. It was like, right. That's pretty good, actually.
That's what I was gonna see if you would like spin it a little bit, but they were just okay with it because they got the free publicity or the extra publicity.
Like, just proof that any publicity is good publicity. We have a few photos with people in front of it that I didn't want to share, but there's selfies with people in front of it, and we made the best of it. But talk about promo horror story.
That really is.
Well, see, that's why I was so blown away when you said that there was additional signage, because when you first sent that photo, I was like, okay, this is like, I could see where this definitely went wrong, and this should be a relatively easy fix. And then you say there's additional signage. If it was just the easel, you could have put, a white sticker over top of it, or somehow corrected it. You know what I mean? But the signage is
we had an entire sign down part of the floor that was floor to ceiling. And the only reason I didn't share it is it had every spot. It was impossible to Photoshop stuff out to save names of people, but we had. Literally, it was throughout the third.
The three.
Yeah, Stephen had a similar story that he shared about like he had a full size like building banner and it was spelled incorrectly.
It was over 100 feet. Yeah, it was wild.
Tall.
Yeah, they were leasing
going like 12 stories tall next to a highway. It said now leasing. So, added an extra IN. I'm curious because in my scenario, it was one of those things where there were so many pieces and we sent out so many proofs that it was actually proofed and approved, as is. Is this one of those scenarios where like people that should have caught it and it just still went through?
You know what happened? It was 5 floors, and I think there was 128 pieces of signage, and I think it just
copy and paste.
As you're flipping through, first floor, second floor, third floor, like they had about 26 pieces of signage for each floor, like at each entry point to the hall, and like there were so many that I think as you proofed it, yes, everyone signed off on it. Right. Everyone signed off on it. In the end, it didn't matter, right? Because
was it also the first floor as well?
No.
Or was it okay?
It wasn't. No, everything else was perfect. It was just the third floor that had that in front of it.
That's so funny. So something I wouldn't say similar, but like in the same, something bad like that happened because we just missed it, right? So it was actually for the influencer campaign for Promotions East last year. And this just jogged my memory because you were on our campaign this year. We had our own mishaps. So one of the first companies that submitted product was HPG, and they sent over all these Rice Krispie treats that were supposed to go in the kit. Well, they got there way before everybody else did, and then they got forgotten about. So the kits come, I open the kit, and I'm like, something's missing. And I look at the schedule, and I was like, oh my God, there's no snack in here. I was like, okay, maybe it's just mine. Texted Charity. I was like, do you have snacks in your thing? She's like, no. I was like, oh my God, the snacks didn't make it. So we had sent out 50 boxes, and one of the day was talk about the snack or do something with a snack. When I'm like, what do we do? I'm like, do I personally pay to drop ship 50 snacks out? I'm like, no, that's insane. I'm not doing that. Like, do I ask suppliers since they screwed up? And I'm like, no, they did this for free, right? Like, what's the best way? Like, so we had to spin it. Like, there was no way to fix the situation. Like, it was done. Like, we sent out 50 boxes. They didn't have the snacks. That happened. So we thought, we have to spin this. We'll just take what we had and just make it better. So we did a play on it, and we're like, all right, well, who stole the snacks out of so we had a whole, like, try to guess who actually stole the snacks. And then what ended up doing is we had the fulfillment guy or person send me all the snacks. And then I did a whole video of where are the snacks? And it was like, oh no, you know, that. And then I'm in my bathtub, like with cucumbers on my eyes, covered in snacks, like just in like heaven. And then the cucumber falls and it's like a look of shame. I'm caught with all the snacks. So we were able to spin that and have fun with it, but I was in panic mode, like this is the first time we did something like this. It was huge. Our names were all over it. We were so proud of it. And then it went wrong. So it's really about how you fix it.
It's honestly too soon to bring that up because I'm still a little burned by that. I'm still waiting for my Rice Krispie treat.
Same. Yeah, and I didn't eat that whole day. I was planning on just Rice Krispie treat.
I don't think I got one either.
It wasn't this time. It was last time. It was the first time. Yeah, I ate way too many of them. But we'll get.
You guys did spin that really well, though, and I did like the whole idea of bathing in them. That was pretty funny.
I was like trying to come up with something, and I wanted to I'm bathing in like some. It was fun.
Jeff, that was bathroom Meg.
That was bathroom Meg. Bathtub Meg. Bathtub Meg. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got all kinds of Megs on this show, Debbie. We've got all kinds of Megs on this show.
Meg's hair. Anyway, Debbie, do you have any other stories?
What's today's Meg?
Well,
this is normal Meg.
This is normal Meg. There's sunglasses Meg. There's like injured Meg.
Oh, injured Meg.
I'd call her Meg the leg, but it's the arm that's messed up.
Right.
So,
It doesn't rhyme. It doesn't rhyme the same.
It doesn't.
Erber.
Erber.
So that's coming from when Stephen once gave me it was not want to say Fiverr. It was a cameo from a UFC fighter, Randy Couture, and he said my name wrong. And so ever since then, I'm now known as Erber.
You're not going to correct that, man.
No, that's.
I literally bring it up every episode, I think.
So imagine being me. We're going to talk about promo horror. Imagine being me, and I get that, and I actually asked him to redo it, and I'm like, talking to it, and he did. He re-recorded it. That was the better version.
Oh.
So,
yeah, that was the better one. You should have seen the first one.
Yeah, so I have to go approach a UFC fighter who's like one of the most famous in the world and be like, hey, man, you didn't pronounce her name right. Can you redo this?
You say it's like Gerber, but without the G. And people are like, oh, wait, how do you spell that?
Well, it's like remember the Idina Menzel, John Travolta thing where he pronounced her name like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he could have spun that. He could have done something, but he didn't. He didn't fix it. It's all about how you fix it. We're all human. We all make mistakes. It's literally how you fix it to make a positive impact on the customer, the client, whatever it is. But yeah, we're
social the way it is. That's the hard part about simple mistakes that everyone does.
Yeah,
it's just people take it and blow it up. It's like, sorry, we're not perfect like you all out there.
Yeah, what did he say again? Adele Dazim.
Yeah, that. Well, I went to sleepaway camp with her, just for the yeah.
Travolta?
No, it's
Wow.
Travolta. That's right there.
Blown up. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. All right. Anything else to add, Stephen, Meg, Debbie?
Debbie, did you have any other stories? Any short stories that you could throw in or
wrap
up?
Yeah. I have a super short one. I could do a super short one.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Sky High, just for Sky High. So And I'm not gonna pretend to be like a Milwaukee Bucks fan because I'm New York Giants diehard. But they I guess it was 2021, the Bucks won the championship. Sky High was the vendor, and so they needed to print 20,000 t-shirts for a parade the next day. And so the screen printer had called. The way that Josh, my CEO, tells it is the screen printer had called and said, there is no way we're getting this done. Like 20,000 shirts, like there is no way we're printing this. So Sky High basically took over the print shop for like 12 hours and printed all of these t-shirts nonstop through the night. That's right. Through the night, they got them out like 7:00 in the morning. The way Josh tells it is like, and he's the most diehard Bucks fan there is. He slept through the parade. He could not function. They basically took like 12 staff members and took over the print shop and said, we're getting this done.
Oh, man.
All the shirts. So it's a little bit of a horror story, I guess.
That's crazy. I know that they have
a great one.
It is.
Especially the way that you turned it around. You guys took it in your own hands. And,
he was like, we're going to come over and do it and stay up all night, whatever it takes, I guess. And that's
cool.
It's crazy how little time they have to turn those around. I know, like last night, I had all the orders coming in, and it's just because they have a couple days for the Phillies before they go to the World Series. But I know Steven has to hop off. I don't want to keep him. I just realized that I was pushing it. So, Debbie, thank you so much. They were some great stories. That's like some PTSD, though. Like, I'm sure that you learned a lot that day, so proofreading.
Well, we'll have to get you on for a 3rd episode at some point.
Thank you all.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right. Well, this episode is brought to you by our good friends over at Greater Pacific. They're the direct manufacturer of custom OEM product, selling in the promotional products industry for 27 years plus experience, specializing in over 10 product categories. They can source and deliver most any product for you. Greater Pacific is full service sourcing product and managing every aspect of production with staff on the ground in Asia and utilizing their time-tested 20-step project management protocol. No need to worry about quality control, product safety, CPSIA compliance, or the hundreds of details related to custom manufacturing. Greater Pacific oversees every aspect for you, and their global logistics team and in-house customs brokering ensures timely, seamless delivery. This is how they provide the ultimate manufacturing experience, and they back that claim with a 30-day product guarantee on all orders. Head over to greaterpacific.com to learn more. What was that?
I said a thirsty day guarantee.
Yes, a thirsty day. There you go. All right, awesome. Well, Debbie, thank you so much for joining us. It was great having you, and you definitely delivered the extra.
Yeah,
always.
I appreciate it. All right, guys. Until next time.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of PromoCorner's Industry Insider. For more great content from industry thought leaders, including podcasts, blogs, and videos, visit PromoCorner.com.